What's up, Sooner Nation? Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. The rankings are in. Oklahoma men's basketball team comes in at number 7 in a top 10 that is really laced with blue bloods throughout. You have Connecticut, Arizona, Kansas, Kentucky. We go on, and OU's in the middle of it. Deservedly so after the season they have started at 10-0, beating some good programs. And now on the horizon, Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, you have the 7 versus 11 showdown against the North Carolina Tar Heels. And again, to say that I'm impressed is an understatement on this team. Kudos to Porter Moser, what he's done in changing his scheme and getting these athletes in here and how they have meshed and gelled in such a quick time. It is very impressive. Final Four, again, I'm going to say is the ceiling and the floor is a Sweet 16, guys. But for OU to be 7th in the nation on December, whatever this is, 19th, 18th. Wow. Wow is all I can say, guys.
Yeah, this team really is living up to what some people thought they could be when you look at who they got out of the transfer portal, how much athleticism they brought in, and for them all to mesh. It's only 10 games in, but you watch them and it doesn't seem like anyone is too big for this team. Like everyone knows their role. I know Eric Musselman said that in the post game after Arkansas is how they really just know their role for the team, and they got so many stars all together. Tega Owe is really looking like he has the potential to be an NBA guy. He's finally getting the 3-point shot down, but I'm not sure on his totals after Saturday's game. But going into Saturday's game, he was 9 for 11 from 3. Last year, he barely made any. So he's not only making them, he's making them at a high percentage. He doesn't take many, but when he does, he's nailing them. Javian McCollum looking like one of the best players in the country, looking like a sure NBA draft pick this summer. And this team, Final Four talk might be a little too early because Big 12 play can really show us what this team is going to be. But wow, who would have thought that this team was going to be ranked above North Carolina heading into this matchup?
Well, and I do think it is a little early for Final Four talk, but and I don't think there's probably a lot of people in the offseason, like you said, Hunter, thought, wow, what they got in the portal, this team could be really good. Not one person would have said they're going to be ranked 7 right now in December. No. Not one person. No. And because you got to mix all that talent together. You got the chemistry's got to. There's so much that has to happen for that, and they have beaten some quality teams. That's the most impressive thing for me is they've beaten athletic teams. This test Wednesday night is going to be a test because they got a couple of really good big guys and guards. It's kind of are you shaking your head no, Jeremy, or you disagree?
I didn't know.
Oh, okay. I mean, they got some big guys, and I'll see how Godwin does in this matchup. Godwin, to me, is probably the most unsung hero of this team this year. And what he does on the offensive glass is best in the nation. I mean, he gets so many of his points and so many offensive rebounds that gives him an extra possession. And then when you bring Hughley in to replace him, there's not a big drop off. So they got a lot of guys. They're very athletic. And what I love is they're kind of welcoming this pressure of being top 10. They want it. They want it bad. They want to be that. And they want to be the best, and they want to play the best. And they're going to be playing one of the best teams on Wednesday. So we'll see where this goes. But the gauntlet is just getting ready to start. And we'll see how they react to that. That's going to be the telltale sign.
Yeah, and I will say that as the gauntlet begins, OU right now has positioned themselves in a great spot because when you lose to the likes of Kansas, Baylor, you're not going to drop very far. So the fact that OU has moved up this high this quickly is good because it's going to be tough for them to drop out of the top 25 if they win what people think they might win. Second thing I'll say is I agree with you, Jay, as far as kind of the dog mentality and the go-get mentality that they have. Of course, when you're athletically gifted like this team is, it's a little easier to be confident going against some of the big dogs. And look, say what you want about the transfer portal, but in basketball, you can literally change your squad overnight, okay? It's been proven. You can look at teams from the past in the NCAA tournament. And you can look at them right now at OU. OU has a couple of guys, kind of big pieces, Owe and Uzan and Godwin you can mention. But for the most part, they brought in 5 to 7 dudes that have gelled well, that started at other programs, and they turned it over in an instant. And when you only need really 8 guys, 9 guys, and OU goes 9 deep, they can go 9 deep well. But the transfer portal has been massive for the University of Oklahoma. And again, you have to just give credit to Porter Moser and the staff for finding not only finding the good guys, the athletic guys, but finding the right guys for this team that would fit.
Yeah, Sam Godwin is really, really having a good season, starting to garner that national attention that he deserves with the numbers he's putting up. And then you look at who he's going against Wednesday night, Armando Bacot. I mean, this guy has been one of the best players in college basketball for the past 3 years now. He's a senior. He took them to the national championship just 2 years ago. So Godwin has another big time performance against a superstar like that. Like the national talk for this team is just going to continue to grow. Then you look at like Javian McCollum or Milos Uzan. Look at who they're going to have to go bucket to bucket with.
Yeah.
RJ Davis. Like this North Carolina team is loaded. This is a big time opportunity. I know you guys kind of hinted at it. A win on Wednesday night for the Sooners, and you can afford to drop a few more Big 12 games because you beat North Carolina, basically a road game in Charlotte. You also beat Arkansas and Tulsa. You beat Providence. You beat USC, Iowa, all those non-conference wins to kind of give you some more leeway as the Big 12 is even tougher this year than it's been the past 2-3 years with the additions of Houston and BYU.
Yeah, and you mentioned if you beat North Carolina, here's what I think happens if you beat North Carolina. Y'all were talking about, Jeremy, you said the ceiling Final Four. If you beat North Carolina, you got to just put OU's name as they can make the final. Like if they end up beating North Carolina in a neutral site, look at the teams they've beaten now. Then, people are talking about North Carolina making the Final Four. At that point, it's like, yeah, OU, look who they beat and they could be. But here's the most important thing for me for OU moving forward. They're extremely deep when you go 8 deep. They are not 9 yet. And I don't know if you're going to need 9. I don't. But if somebody gets injured or there's some injuries, I would like to see either Caden Cooper or Northweather somehow get a little bit. I don't know how you get them more playing, but that would be my only concern is if somebody gets injured. Because at this point, those 8 are basically 8 starters. Those guys have started. Those 3 that are not starting have started before. So you're playing 8 guys that can start. And the most impressive thing about this team to me, they don't play well sometimes and they win by 30. And it's because you can literally go get a drink of water and come back and they've scored 10 points like that. Their defense leads to points and they can go on these runs that they have not been able to do under Porter Moser in the past.
And this team this year closes out the half better than probably anybody in the country.
Yeah.
Saturday night, they were not playing well at all against Green Bay. Like, Green Bay's a bad team. You should blow them out, which they ended up doing. But they were struggling. Call a timeout, and then, like, the final 2 minutes into the half, it's like a 12-0 run, something like that. A big-time run. You mentioned the defense leading to points. They had, like, 3 straight forced turnovers there, points on the other end. So, yeah, that is one thing to point out, though, is the 8-man rotation. How long is this viable for when you're going through Big 12 play and stuff like that? It would be nice if they could get that 9th or 10th man, but I don't know if they're going to be able to.
Hey, last thing I'll say real quick. The defense is one of the top defenses in the nation as far as field goal percentage, line, 3-point. The defense has been outstanding, and that's going to travel whoever you play. And Porter Moser is defensive minded, so I think that bodes well for OU as they head into more of the conference play.
Yeah, and there's going to be some just bloodbaths in the Big 12, just going at each other. But I'd love to see 9 deep. I think when that happens, Hunter and Jay is probably in some of the Big 12 games that you probably win going away. Maybe you can get someone in there and get some shots, and at least have someone who can come off the bench in case they're a foul trouble or an injury or something. But The big one is Wednesday night, 8 o'clock ESPN, OU versus the Tar Heels. Number 7, OU versus number 11, UNC.
0-3.
What?
0-3 for 0-3 lifetime versus North Carolina.
Yeah, and hey, the other thing is if you can beat North Carolina, they're coming off losses. So it's not, I mean, you're going to get their best probably. So a win there would prove to be great. So there it is. Number 7 in the country, your Oklahoma Sooner men's basketball program. Till next time, Boomer.
Sooner.